Part 3. Crash. Chapter 8. They smelled Crashtown before they could see it. Vile. Putrid fumes wafted from within the deteriorating stronghold. A wretched odor of sweat and smoke, refuse and bodily fluids wafted through the air. The look of the town was as foul as its stench. Rumored to have once been the most luxurious of all the townships, Crashtown's heyday was long gone. The exterior walls were reddish-brown, rusted and filthy. Entire chunks of concrete were missing, and lightning-like cracks ran from its base to an enclosed rooftop. Easily 3 times the size of Land Escape, its superstructure was bloated and swollen, having gone through several haphazard expansions over the years. It was a citadel that the devil himself would deem a fixer-upper. A siren song of thumping bass beckoned Vant and Skii to the township. As they closed the gap from the wilderness to the megalopolis, the pulsing beats melded with the din of the crowd inside. From a concealed position, Vant and Skii studied the entrance. 2 garish, tacky pillars rose up from the turf and held the chipped gold signage of the township. Faded letters spelled out its original name, Cashtown. Yet between the C and the A vandal had painted an R, changing the moniker to something infinitely more suitable. The skewed dogma of the township was something of a legend, told mostly as a precautionary tale. In its inception, Crashtown promised the elongation of life through the alleviation of conscience. It was believed that surrendering one's burdens and committing to a guilt-free existence was the path to a longer lifespan and a more pleasurable way of being. Every passing year, droves of people flocked to Crashtown to escape whatever dogmatic rule they had been trapped in for the lifestyle Crashtown promised. It had become a beacon of hope for the hopeless, a final destination for the disenfranchised. But this was no Eden. It was a sanctuary of sin. It offered no more than the chance for countless people to fill their lives with prurient distractions and the experience of the famous crash that followed. Every person who stepped foot inside the township was eventually hit with a harsh reality. They had escaped whatever hell they were trapped in, only to have inadvertently discovered a new one. Crashtown seduced them, broke them, and kept them. Vant inhaled to clear his head and choked on the stink. Skii's pointed look said it all. They had come so far undetected, they did not want to blow it now. All they had to do was slip inside the city without being spotted, and they would be free of nomad threats. Although the entrance was open to outsiders, they scanned the exterior in search of an alternative way in. Frankly, they were stalling. Skii's father had vanished into Crashtown years ago, and the reason for his disappearance was a mystery. Had he been murdered? Robbed and left for dead? Gotten lost in the madness? Skii shook off a shiver. Vant assumed she was warding off any nightmarish visions in her mind. Vant too was skittish. Though a warrior, one who had battled death himself and lived to tell the tale, he still felt his heart palpitating. What disturbed him most was the unpredictable nature of the place. He had heard stories of the temptations, tricks, and titillations that lay behind the city's walls, and he had no idea how he would hold up against them. He was, after all, a man, and one who had not experienced the touch of a woman in an astonishing number of years. Vant had a disturbing thought. He felt empathetic towards Skii's father, should he have fallen victim to the seductions of Crashtown. After using Death's mask to scour the trees for camouflaged nomads, of which there were hundreds, Vant and Skii quickly strategized the safest route into town. Still concealed, and with the noise of the city masking their voices, they plotted their path to the front door.
You ready?
Nope.
You don't have to go, I'll go alone.
Trust me, waiting outside is worse.
All right, here's the plan. We get in, we deliver the message about the army, we find your father, and we get out. Agreed?
Agreed.
She scratched her scalp a bunch, then pinned back the loose strands of hair.
Okay, ready.
After me?
She raised Cassidy.
Ladies first.
Skii moved with immaculate stealth. Vant followed at her feet, too tall for his own good and half as quiet. They hit a divergence point and split up. Bodies clumped together would have made for one big target, but separated, they were two, smaller and faster. They tucked in, dug deep, and sprinted hard. They crossed the gap into open air. Voices shouted from the trees. Curses and rustling branches betrayed the hidden hunters, surprised by the prey darting into the city. The nomads scrambled to load their weapons and fired before acquiring solid targets. Arrows stuck into dirt behind Vant's feet. Skii sidestepped a net launched from a cannon. Bullets chewed the walls next to Vant's head. Risking a backward glance, Vant saw 10 savages on his trail. Another 10 converged from the front. Beyond them, he saw Skii zip between the pillars and leap into Crash Town's entrance.
Damn, she's fast.
He thought. And then...
Wait, did she just leap?
Vant neared the entrance. He noticed the flanking hunters disengaging. They brandished machetes and knives, but they did not attack.
What are they waiting for?
He was at the pillars. His instinct kicked in, overriding his brain. He did as Skii did, taking a running leap into the entrance. A jaw-like trap buried in the ground clamped the leg of a nomad trailing him. The man cried out, and the remaining pack stopped to free him. Vant and Skii were inside the keep, safe from outside threats. They steadied their breathing. They collected their wits and walked through a turnstile. It smelled of urine. A narrow tunnel, once a processing zone of some sort, led them to an abandoned greeting center. The area featured an elaborate mural of the town that was heavily defaced with vulgarities. A welcome sign greeted them, but it was missing key letters. It now simply read, "Come." A few more steps brought them to a broken moving walkway. They proceeded along the stationary conveyor until they arrived before a disorienting illusion. The town was encased by an artificial sky. It glowed a nighttime violet-black in parts and a bright daylight hue in others. Either the holographic ceiling was meticulously designed to create a combination of simultaneous day and night, or it was malfunctioning. In a corner of the sky, a pink sun rose above a cluster of buildings, surrounded by woefully inaccurate celestial objects. Projected clouds moved overhead, but disappeared into solid gray areas where the roof was not working. They stepped off the walkway onto the main street leading into Crash Town proper, and for the first time, they took in the sight of the thoroughfare. It was not as bad as they thought. It was worse. Naked, greasy pedestrians lined the street. Some had vacant stares. Some were tweaked out on chemicals. Others lay limp, sleeping, passed out, or possibly dead. Mere feet from them, a teenage boy missing an arm and coated in excrement approached a motionless lump of a woman. He kicked her. When she did not respond, he mounted her. A man snorted at their feet. 2 hook-like syringes dangled from his nostrils. He was working on inserting a third. To the side, a woman grunted in discomfort. 3 children clawed at each other, fighting to breastfeed on her massive body. Vant took it all in with stunned overwhelm. Skii choked on her emotions.
I changed my mind. I'd rather wait outside.
A handful of vagabonds noticed the new visitors in town. They rose with varying degrees of success, tripped over themselves, and approached with outstretched hands. They mouthed whatever words they could find to beg for whatever Vant and Skii had to spare. Skii was visibly concerned, but also nauseated. She reasoned with them.
I'm sorry, I don't have anything.
Shut your mouth!
Her words were drawing the attention of more husks of men and women. They approached with quivering hands and exposed genitals. Her naivete was making her an easy mark. A gooey tub of a man lumbered toward Skii. He had an illness. His purple tongue flopped out of his mouth, and he stumbled over gangrenous legs.
Get behind me.
When the fiend was close enough, Vant booted him in his doughy chest, collapsing him onto his rear. Like a turtle on its back, he struggled to get up. More junkies zeroed in on them. With her shaking hands pawing at Cassidy, Skii wrestled with whether she should start blasting or turn tail and run. She twisted around and yelped. No escape would be found back the way they came. A dozen of the strung-out beggars had converged from behind. A bead of sweat rolled down Vant's cheek. It was one thing battling warriors, golems, or even death himself. But the sick and desperate? He tickled his satchel with his fingers. He knew if he removed his gauntlets, blood would surely be spilled. He had no clue what the hell to do. Escape? Reason? Run? Kill? All seemed like crap options.
Crash Town?
He concluded aloud to Skii.
Sucks.
Dozens of junkies appeared from the walkways and alleys. A disgusting pile of skin charged, panting and violently scratching an infected wound on his forehead. He lunged at Skii, who evaded. Vant balled up his bare fist and smashed the guy in the face. A stream of pus emptied from his nose. Gagging with revulsion, Vant used his cloak to wipe the slop off his knuckles. Vagabonds poured from the windows of adjoining buildings onto the street. There were 30 of them, then 50, then 100. An addict apocalypse.
Ass down!
She kicked Vant in the rear. He dropped to the pavement. She cocked her shotgun and took aim at the largest group. A blue blast exploded from the teddy bear's mouth with her trigger pull. The shockwave knocked the derelicts back a dozen yards. She fired at another pack, creating a sprawling pileup of bodies. Another discharge from Cassidy, and 3 shiv-wielding women flew backward, arms flailing.
Skii, you're pissing him off.
Vant elbowed a skinny miscreant with the shakes who had managed to sneak up behind them. The crowd's agitation was escalating, and the chaos was attracting more curious strays into the mix. Their demeanor turned riotous. Hundreds of grimy fingernails and fouled appendages were upon them.
Stay down! Cassidy's pissed and she's gonna growl.
Skii pulled the weapon's slider back. A glow on the shotgun's barrel formed as she held down the primer. Air flowed into the nozzle as the size of the glow increased, and an ascending charge grew louder and louder. When it was fully primed, Skii let go of the slider and squeezed the trigger. A burst of light, a vigorous thrum like an animal snarling. A hemisphere of sapphire energy fountained from Cassidy's mouth, creating an impenetrable shield around Vant and Skii. They huddled together underneath the dome. The vagrants attempted to penetrate the repulsor shield. Upon contact, they were forced back by kinetic discharge. Vant, in the blue sanctuary, experienced a moment of relief, followed by concern.
How long will this last?
Cassidy's got about 30 more seconds before she'll need a rest.
That's it?
I'd like to see you do better.
Well, I guess I'll catch a nap, wake me up when we're being molested.
A bony crunch. A spray of blood splattered on the shield. The fluids sparked in a disgusting light show. Vant peered through the semi-transparent energy field, trying to decipher what had happened. All he could see was some kind of metal contraption operating a few feet away, and it made a mess.
Come on out!
An amplified voice boomed.
You two, huddled blue, you're safe now.
The addicts panicked and scattered. Cassidy's shield fizzled out. An almost embarrassed sound sputtered from her mouth as the gun ran out of energy. The metal leg of a mechanized biped, a walking tank, filled their vision. The chipped paint of its exterior was peppered in splotches of red. It lifted its appendage and scraped it against the curb, attempting to get the gunk off. It had squashed a vagrant underneath its massive foot.
Oh, excuse the mess, folks.
The voice emanated out of embedded loudspeakers at an unnecessarily loud volume. The machine's posture was proud and arrogant, standing nearly 20 feet tall.
Welcome to Crash Town. I'm pleased to meet you. I'm the keeper of the peace in this here settlement. They call me the mayor. Pleasure.
The body was expressive and shockingly agile, moving with humanoid precision. A huge robotic hand extended to Vant, but he remained motionless, skeptical. The hulking enforcer peered at him with a visor of glassy black eyes, sensor panels that hid the contents of the cockpit. The mayor re-extended his hand in a demand for decorum. The whir of complex mechanics underscored his insistence. Vant patted the tip of the robotic index finger, a finger almost as large as Vant's entire body. Then to Skii.
Oh, little lady charm.
He politely bowed.
Oh, my. The women of the world just keep on getting prettier, don't they?
Was the machine flirting with her?
Anywho, you all picked the worst way to introduce yourselves to Crash Town. Most everyone knows the best way to make an entrance is to make a hell of an entrance. Gotta scare off the roaches, make them skitter.
He lunged at one of the junkies who had gotten too close for comfort. The mayor scooped him up into a clenched fist. The victim protested as mechanized fingers squeezed and squeezed until the beggar burst like a pimple. Skii averted her eyes in horror.
Hey! Was that necessary?
Why, surely, stranger. Gotta teach the damn dopers to be polite. Otherwise, how we gonna let fresh blood in the door? Now, my friends, you're free to play in Crash Town. Know your way around? Do ya? Why, well, hell, of course you don't. I'll be more than happy to point you in the direction of whatever dings your doodads. What the heck, what am I thinking? First we got one tiny thing to chat about.
Uh-oh.
Vant thought.
A small matter of paying your taxes.
Or what?
Vant felt lame playing dumb. He knew where this was going.
Come on now. We can't just protect and serve for free, you know. This here metal beast needs power, polish, and paint. It don't lick itself clean after all.
The mayor shoved a bloody finger in Vant's face and waved it around. Skii looked nauseated.
Don't you fret, sweet thing. I ain't gonna squish you. You're safe with me. But you gotta pay the piper. You know how it goes. Here in Crash Town, it's either business or pleasure, and your pleasure is my business.
What do you want?
Well, let's see. What you got?
Vant knew he was being robbed, but no alternative sprung to mind. He was staring at a homicidal metal maniac in a sea of strung-out zombies. He looked at Skii and shrugged. She rolled her eyes.
Corporal capsules.
Vant removed the pouch from his satchel.
All right, I'll give you half.
Oh, well, just little baby. If you only want to give me half.
A compartment opened in the automaton's shoulder, accompanied by a spinning sound. A Gatling gun raised out of the slot and pointed at Skii.
I guess we only need half of you.
Yeah, I thought that'd be the case. But I should get something for my money, so let's make a deal.
Go ahead, talk, son.
You're the head of this town? You keep order here?
I sure do, friend. Myself and the rest of the peacekeepers.
His steel fists pounded his torso. The implication that there were more of these machines gave Vant the willies.
We have a situation. I was a few townships over and I saw some things that Okay, look, I can't explain this staring at a machine gun. Let's just have a sit down and chat man to man.
The eyes of the behemoth, the opaque, glossy panels, appeared to be reading Vant.
This a game, stranger? Not gonna try to get your little pill purse back, are you?
No. Listen, a handful of capsules won't matter with the hellstorm headed this way.
Well, sounds fascinating. Okay, pal, you're on. Meet me at my mansion around supper time. Ask anyone, they'll point you in the right direction. We'll have some grub. Dinner's on you. After all, you just got stuck with a check.
A self-indulgent guffaw came from the mayor's loudspeakers as he stretched out an open palm. Vant emptied his pill pouch into an opening in the wrist. The machine was optimized for receiving handouts. Skii did the same with her capsules, then blew a dangling strand of hair out of her face in defiance. They followed the mare past the addiction zone into the corrupted, polluted heart of the city. A mixture of rumbles and rattles, posing as music, thumped out of time-worn woofers. Trinket shops, fetish boutiques, swap meet booths peddling bizarre wares, and thousands of people filled the metropolis of filth. Every turn revealed a disconcerting sight. A 4-year-old was getting her face tattooed on the sidewalk. A woman ate what appeared to be fried toes on a stick. A vendor was selling pocket-sized genital guillotines. There was no end to the debauched lunacy on display. Massive buildings lined the streets, decorated with illuminated signs and image projections, some working, most broken. Casino was common, but so too was live debasement, pleasure house, and fancy massage. One sign cryptically read, "Happy Chunks." Vant pointed it out to Skii, as if to say, "Interested?" She punched his shoulder. He shrugged.
That can't hurt to ask.
They wandered without a plan. Invasive eyes scoured them wherever they went. They were obviously new in town, and their stares from shocking sight to shocking sight confirmed the local suspicions. Winding paths through the vast township led to dedicated areas for particular sensibilities. Their attempts to avoid the red light districts were pointless. Every district turned out to be a red light district. The question became, what kind? Due to their manic salaciousness, certain zones practically begged to be kept a distance from. But preventing the frenzy from bubbling over into total madness were sporadic patrols by the burly metal bipeds, the peacekeepers. Some appeared involved in disputes between citizens, others engaged in crowd control. Some twitched as if malfunctioning, and others people-watched. A few sat motionless. Out of order? Taking a nap? While each had a different routine, they all had one thing in common. The townspeople despised them and gave them a wide berth. When passing through yet another red light district, this one rife with denizens clad in fuzzy animal costumes up top, but no clothing down below, Vant pointed out a section of corpobots to Skii.
We're gonna need pills to pay for shelter. There has to be lodging around here somewhere. Something we can use as a home base, hopefully something sterile.
She nodded, walked up to a bot, then looked at Vant, waiting for a prompt. He answered,
Pull out 2020. It should be enough. You got that amount in your account, right?
40/40.
She requested from the bot. It chirped an acknowledgement and dispensed 40 blue and 40 green capsules, wrapped in bundles.
2 rooms, big guy.
She was about to walk away, but the brass scarab sounded a distinct musical chime.
Message for Skii Tavi.
It stated. She looked at Vant for answers. He had none.
Have a pen pal I don't know about?
I used a bot in Land Escape. There were no messages. Someone must have recently sent this.
Well, let's hear it, right?
She swallowed.
Bot, what's the message?
Message playback. Message sent from. Message sent on.
The information was either scrambled or the corporal bot was malfunctioning. A small lens cap popped open, then holographic imagery beamed into the air. A cryptic mix of data, numbers, static, and strobes. The phenomenon lasted about 10 seconds before, clear as crystal, words materialized.
Get out, now.
The words faded.
End of message.
The bot chirped happily.
So that's fun.
Yeah, that's real nice.
Skii scratched her scalp.
Bot, who sent that message?
An abrupt tone, followed by,
No messages.
Hey, dummy, who sent the message you just played?
the same tone, followed by,
No messages.
What the hell? Bot, replay the message.
No messages.
You just played it 5 frickin' seconds ago.
No messages.
Skii kicked the leg of the robot with her boot.
Warning.
It said. They stared at the machine until Skii broke the silence.
Any ideas? I've never seen a busted bot before.
I don't think it's busted. I think it's been hacked. Someone knows you're here and they're warning you.
Warning me? It sounds more like they're threatening me.
No, that doesn't make any sense. Why would they give you a heads up if they were coming after you? This is anonymous protection.
Oh, good. A secret admirer. That's comforting. Whatever. Let's get moving. Skeevy message or no, we've got stuff to do.
Are you sure?
Definitely. When you think about it, the message is telling us one thing for certain. We're on to something. Here's a thought. Think maybe my dad sent it? Think he heard the message I sent him in Landescape? Hey, bot? Has my message to Geist Flyer been accessed?
A sad tune, then
Message unread.
she sighed.
Well, it was worth a shot.
No arguments here, but look, we need to get off the streets. All right, I saw far too many drooling mouths from Crash Town's finest when you withdrew those pills. I don't know about you, but being robbed once a day is plenty for me.
Yeah, agreed.
They left the bots and traversed into the upper echelons of the city, where the true wealth of Crash Town amassed. Grand casinos featuring death-dealing machines lined the thoroughfare. In the gambling houses, customers sat at tables, betting on their own or others' lives. There were amusements where blades struck out at random, and money traded hands for every fatal blow. Devices that lowered people into acid while they played number-crunching games to slow their descent. Patrons betting on how long a victim could withstand the stings of poisonous insects. If an activity was violent and had the potential to be wagered upon, there was a good chance a casino offered it. Deeper into the borough, they came across advertisements for live shows and entertainment, though most were long since expired. Following the trail of promotions, Vant and Skii arrived at the base of a massive arena, the Spectorum Maxima. The forum more than lived up to its showy name and size, but its appearance was downright appalling. It had been ravaged by the townspeople. No monument in history had ever been this viciously sullied. Years of hatred had been etched into the walls, and enraged malevolence had been slopped into every inch reachable by human hands. One particular symbol served as the defacement of choice, repeated over and over and over. W3M. Whether inscribed by blunt objects, blood, or bodily waste, it recurred hundreds of thousands of times, clearly making this mark was the thing to do, some sort of Crash Town tradition handed down over the years. Vant and Skii let their eyes move up from the sea of vengeful scribblings to a mural, a near impossibly sized mural, that ran to the very top of the arena. It depicted the world's best magician, a handsome, mustachioed man in a dapper top hat and cape, with hands emitting beams of light in the shape of his W8M logo. However, the painting had also been vandalized. The word best was painted over with the word worst, and half of the 8 was blotched out, creating a sideways W. Ski's disappointment in seeing her hero portrayed in such a way was impossible to conceal.
My dad was obsessed with this guy.
Vant opened his mouth in search of some kind of consolation, but Skii did not give him a chance. Feigning strength, she said,
At some point he must have gotten hold of him. Maybe he knows something.
Vant nodded, studying her face. But it held less hope than before. They pressed on. For shelter, they settled on a place that appeared sane enough. A love hotel. It was moderately populated and decorated with paintings of hearts, breasts, hand bindings, impossibly intertwined bodies, and assorted phallic objects. At least it was clean. After a small discussion with the clerk about whether they needed the lodgings for a couple hours or all night, they paid for the accommodations and went to their rooms. Vant, filled with mistrust, lay down his satchel under his arms and his mask under his pillow. Sleep came fast. He napped hard.
He dreamed of death, holding him, squeezing him, crushing him, draining him, laughing. He saw himself. He saw himself as he should be. He saw saw himself dead, melting away, melting away.
Vant arose in a panic. The abrupt awaking disoriented him, and the lack of clocks, coupled with the schizophrenic holographic sky outside his window, left him uncertain as to the time of day. It could have been weeks later, for all he knew. He cleaned up as best he could in the communal bathroom, though it was difficult without a mirror. He noticed that he had not seen even one since stepping foot in the township. He soaked his face in cold water, then sped through a sponge bath. He knocked on Skii's door a dozen times. She grumpily opened it. He was interrupting her marathon nap, and she turned right back around and flopped face down onto the bed.
I gotta go see the mayor to warn him about the Thalium army. While I'm there, I'm gonna ask about your father. You stay here, okay?
She mumbled incoherently into the linens.
Skii, groan once if you can hear me and you promise to stay in your room.
She responded with a string of obscenities, muffled by the pillow pressed against her face.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take that as a yes. Contact me via Riscom if anything comes up. I'll call you if I need you. Don't go anywhere. I won't be long. Are you getting all this?
No response. What could he do? It was dinner time.